There was a young creature named Mikey, whose Starship Troopers he did not likey. But Jurassic Park 3 he would always go see, so Mikey should swing nightly. Welcome to the Flluffenhammer. Roll the music, and as always, ignore the corpses.
Every man lives, not every man truly dies.
The thing is, there's so many of them.
But chairs made out
To get us all together in one place, and to hold the summoning ritual in place, it requires a hell of a lot of corpses, but a hell of a lot of preparation as well.
Well, there you go. Right, so to do the introductions. Andy,
Yes.
what would you sacrifice to bring George forth?
Oh God, what wouldn't I? I think whatever sacrifice is worth it. George is a good lad.
Oh, thank you.
George, what would you place upon the altar to bring forth Andy?
To bring forth Andy, you know what? I don't know. That'd be so cool. I'm thinking of like a Bloodborne-ish style ritual, something very elaborate and very arcane.
Like an arcane portal rips open and you're like, oh my God, what eldritch horror comes through? And it's just me. Hello.
Just eat a sandwich. Are you after my sandwich?
It's eldritch cheese.
God, man, can you imagine if you go to all the trouble of like creating an eldritch ritual and risk driving yourself mad with all the arcane chicanery that you get up to, and then it's just a guy with a sandwich who comes through. It's sort of like,
My greatest life
fuck?
lesson I can teach you: life is disappointing. This ritual proves it. Walks back through the portal and closes.
Right, and then ironically, you go mad with disappointment anyway. So
I want to go mad with disappointment. Just like, oh.
I mean, if you go to the trouble, you definitely want like tentacles, you want maws, you want mad glaring eyes, you want something, don't you?
Do you think the one thing that gets summoned each and every time gets bored of it at some point? He's like, oh God, not
Right.
again.
The eldritch horror that's like, oh, for God's sake, will they just leave me alone?
I just wanted to finish painting this model. I was so close.
I'm sick to death of being in this finite universe with its 3 dimensions and whatnot. I want to exist in like my non-Euclidean space, if you please.
Two more thousand years and Gregory can change over and he can do the summoning rituals. God,
Right.
look forward to it.
Out of interest, have either of you guys ever seen the thing about what would happen if ants started calling your name and doing sacrifices?
No.
I don't think so.
I'll have to see if we can find it. It's absolutely brilliant. It's basically how to change the goalposts. So instead of a human trying to call an elder god, it's ants trying to call a human.
Oh, I see. Right, so it's trying to demonstrate that what happens is you get stepped on,
Well, it's more like, why are these ants writing my name out?
Right.
I need to
What's the
follow this to go
yeah.
and see what's happening. And that's kind of the idea that it just kind of escalates madly, and the ants tell stories to their children of the great feat in the sky and that type of thing. And then it's just you just following them around going, well, here's a little bit of sugar.
Right, it's a slightly Douglas Adams look at divinity, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely... I'll have to see if I can find it. And if you guys in the comments would like to put down what you would like to sacrifice to bring forth any 3 of us, all 3 of us at the same time,
I was going to say, all 3 at the same time, it takes a lot.
It does, it does. I mean...
It's a small genocide round here, I'm telling you.
I would like to see... those magic eye pictures? Right.
Yeah.
It's one of them on a an Art Attack scale, made out of nothing but bodies of crows.
Crows, okay.
Just crows.
Crows are cool.
Oh, that's very Nurgle. That's very...
All
very
right,
not
then
do
pigeons.
pigeons? No one-
there.
Yeah, no one likes pigeons.
Absolutely. But not wood pigeons, city pigeons.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wood
okay.
pigeons are great because they're just big and fat and they just sit there and go, whilst city pigeons are like flying rats. Seagulls.
Yep,
Seagulls.
agreed.
I want it done out of seagulls. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Well, seagulls are bastards,
Yep.
aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
Seagulls are horrible creatures.
I always remember walking along still at the beach, and this seagull stole a full ice cream out of a little girl's hand.
Right.
At the
Yeah.
time, I found it really funny.
It's
Think about
Seagulls
it.
and geese. Seagulls and geese are the arch bastards of the bird world, aren't they? They're just evil creatures.
Yeah, there's a. I remember when I used to work up at Knoxwood, the animal sanctuary, and used to sleep there overnight. You'd be woken up at the sun coming up by just geese outside the flat room going, "Rah, rah."
Oh, God.
I'm gonna go outside and start snapping long necks. Yeah, I hate them. Hate them so much. So we've got some things to do today. As much as I would quite happily just sit here and talk about how much I hate birds, you know.
Yeah, we get it. Yeah, this sort of anti-ornithological thing we've got going on here, you know.
Yeah, indeed.
Don't know where that came from.
No, that's a hell of a word for this time of day.
Just as a a disclaimer, I actually really like birds in general. Zeech is not going to be pleased with this one, I can tell you. God.
No, absolutely not.
He's got a bird thing going on, hasn't he?
It is, yeah.
So I'm going to put into the chat a little link.
Oh, my God.
So if anybody would like to take the option and the honour of clicking on the link
It's the dice.
It says dice. Now it should say.
We said we'd let you roll this time because I did it the last time.
Okay, George, you're going to roll for me. So it should have one dice that's 27-sided. Is that correct?
Let's have a look. I think I've just got a dice 6 here.
Okay, if you just
one dice 6-sided.
If you just click on the 6 and just change that to 27.
Okay, go.
Which I realise is a really weird-sided dice, but that's the amount of names I have on my list.
Okay.
So this list is all the people who voted and told me that they voted in the Fluffies last month. So what I've got here is a little raffle type thing where the winner is going to get a bag of goodies, a surprise bag of goodies. So
is it like a pick and mix?
It's like
you used to be able to get from Woolworths.
Let's just say, you know when you leave a pick and mix and it gets sticky?
Okay.
It's like that.
Are there sweets in it?
I mean, depending on your definition of sweets, you know.
Oh, if it hasn't got any sweets in it, I'm not interested.
Yeah, that's all right, George. Your name's not on the list, so.
No!
So you're not going to get my bag of eldritch goodies.
No gummy worms, no little cola bottles, none of that.
No,
that's a bit too simple for this day and age. If you're going to send someone sweets over the internet, it's got to be the gummy penises. That's
yes,
the thing.
right. Yes, it's got to be elaborate.
Yes, or it's either the gummy penises or the chocolate anus hole.
That's what leapt to mind. I've got to say.
What I've actually got here is just a bag full of gummy Michael from the Lost Boys. It's just nothing but Michael in various scenes from the Lost Boys.
Okay.
Do you think you could get gummy mullets? Like different kind of mullets.
Unfortunately,
from the 80s.
they're called gullets.
What is going on with this episode?
Same as every episode.
I don't know why, but this one is striking me as bizarre.
Can you imagine, you get little gummy hairs and you have to put them together to make a gummy beard? Or
oh my god.
A gummy mohawk. Get a bit sticky after a while.
It would, wouldn't it? It'd be unpleasant after a while.
It really. Shall we roll this dice then and see who's won?
Yeah, let's roll.
What
the
apparently
dice.
is just a bag of weird shit.
Oh, very Zechian. We've got 9.
9. Okay, then let's have a look here. We have 1, 2, 3. Emil Ailgroth, I think that's pronounced, which I do believe is the man on the Flluffenhammer Facebook group who has been making the Legion of the Damned Space Marines.
Oh, those things!
Yeah,
oh my god, that army is insanely good.
Oh, it really is. It's absolutely
It's
gorgeous.
insanely good. I was following that one quite avidly, I've got to say.
So, Emil, I will get in contact with you and get your address, and we shall send you your bag of goodies.
Fabulous.
So that's the raffle for this episode. Should we just not bother doing it? I don't think there's anything else to talk about now, is there? I think that's it.
Oh no, that's it. We can quit now.
Yeah,
Nothing's been happening.
We can just quit. That's the end of the
Yeah,
show.
that's actually the last episode of the Flluffenhammer.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed.
I'm
that.
not even gonna put this out. Just
No.
we're all just gonna sit here now and watch Bad Boys 2 for the next hour.
I'm bloody not.
No, I'm good.
All right then.
I'm good.
It's Bad Boys 2
in that regard,
but played in reverse.
No.
No, okay. Fair enough. So, what we actually have to talk about is the preview. Yesterday's preview, The Dead and the Divine. I don't think there was anything divine in there, was there? I suppose.
There's a little bit.
A little bit.
I'd say at least 2 things, Max. That was it.
Yeah. I mean,
Just 2 divine things, yeah.
Yeah.
and I think one of them is also a dead thing, isn't it?
No.
Okay. So there was plenty came out yesterday. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the stuff that got previewed. I'm going to just sit here quietly and then explode with joy because
There is, I mean, I know, having had a look at what's going on Twitter and on Facebook and on various forums, there is only one thing that people are talking about. And I think we all know what that is.
Yes, and it's the first thing we're going to talk about. It's the
big lady from Resident Evil 8.
Yes, very much related to that, actually, in its own peculiar way.
Oh, and here's who you think it was going to be. Is it the big lady who runs the cafe down the street?
No.
I don't know her.
She is fab, though, isn't she? That vampiress from Resi 8.
Here's the thing. The internet's all about like people going, I wanted to step on me. I'm like, I just want a hug.
Oh, right, okay. I just think she's fabulous. I think she looks fantastic.
Have you not seen everybody like, I wanted to step on me?
No.
Why?
No.
What?
I don't know. It's a thing. It's a thing at the moment. People want to be stepped on by people. I don't know why.
It is the internet, so,
yeah.
you know, I'm just going to leave it at that. I think that explains all.
I mean, Cars and Dragons exists on the internet, so... yeah,
that is true. There's a whole YouTube video about it, wasn't there?
Was there?
I think so.
I've never seen the video, but I have seen the site. Andrew Turnbull sent me the site.
Oh no!
Okay.
I felt like I'd passed like some kind of rite of passage when he sent me a link to Cars and Dragons.
You can't go back to an innocent life, that's for sure.
I felt like I'd moved into a position where I was respected.
Oh no, that's not true. That's not how that works.
Well, you know how Turnbull... I say respected. When it comes to Turnbull, it's more like hated, but in a very loving way.
Less hate than others.
Yeah, you don't just get his disdain. He actively goes out of his way to try and harm your eyes.
Oh right, so you register.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah,
you register. Yeah.
Turnbull's like some kind of it's like an elder god.
I've got to say, it wasn't the vampires that got me. There was one thing that cropped up that I just friggin' loved.
What was that?
More than anything, it's the fox guy, the fox god.
I
think he is fantastic.
Oh, the high elf, the elves thing, right?
Yeah, I want that miniature.
Well, what we'll do is we'll break this down into all the releases and we'll do them in order because
why not?
It means that we get some stuff out the way and we explode with joy.
Then we can go for the great stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. So the first thing was the Armor of Faith, or as I have seen it being called, the Nundam.
Love it.
That's good.
As far as I'm concerned, it is called the Nundam. It will always be called the Nundam. The Nundam is the best goddamn name that this thing can have. I fucking adore the fact that I saw it being called the Nundam.
Yeah, I mean, they're adding to the Sisters of Battle. I mean, I'd assume this is building up to their release in 9th ed, yeah?
Yeah, I would say so. And what I quite like about it is I'm actually considering the idea of getting it and then doing some heavy conversion work because it reminds me of the Landmates from Appleseed.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah, I can see
God
that.
Almighty! Wow, obscure anime references, ahoy!
Yeah, and I'm talking like the proper Appleseed, not the CGI Appleseed. Which,
yes. You're talking about the 1990s one.
Yeah.
You're talking about the original one. Yeah.
Yeah. With its wonderful cans of Gus and the police station with a there's some wonderful English in that thing.
Fantastic.
But yeah, that film's gorgeous. Yeah, I love it, and I can see so much work that I could do with it to make it into something really either unsettling or something just really cool, really...
I can see converters just going nuts with these things because they look like they're built for conversion. They've got lots of big sort of flat plates on them, very distinct limbs where you could chop and change, you could sculpt stuff, you know? They look like a converter's dream.
I mean, I can see this thing that instead of having the Sisters of Battle head in there, I could see a skull with tons and tons of wires coming out of it.
Right.
Maybe with a single eyeball or something. You know, something that obviously was put in there when still alive and has it actually died. It's just the machine spirit keeping it going.
I'm seeing lots of Emperor's Children players making Slaneshi demon engines out of these.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
You know, things that are sort of Mauler Fiend stand-ins.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's what I'm thinking. What I'm
hoping for is that it has 2 sets of arms for different builds. Because if it does, having that but 4-armed would be gorgeous.
Yeah, fun,
I could make something
Lots of fun.
super cool Gene Stealer style mech out of that. Yeah, there's a ton of opportunities here for this thing. I mean, as it stands, it's a really nice looking model, and the video.
Oh, it's great.
The video is
and it's
cool.
nice to see. It's nice to see the sisters getting something a bit heavier in it. You know, something a bit. Oof.
It's nice to see them getting something new.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to put down a bet here, right?
Okay.
And I want to see if anyone will take up this bet. I'm going to say within the next month, we're going to start seeing people complaining about the Sisters of Battle having too much stuff.
Oh, no, I'm not taking that. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely correct. That will happen.
Yeah, I don't agree with the idea, but I'm convinced I'm going to see it at some point.
Oh, yeah, that definitely will happen. There's no doubt. There is no doubt that will happen. I mean, I do sometimes feel, I feel for the Xenos players. I do.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, because they just don't get the love, do they?
No.
But even so, the sisters, they have been so neglected for so long. I don't care how much they get. I'm kind of happy for them.
And if it's a quality of this level, I am well within the realms of seeing more of this stuff. I may not buy it. I'm probably going to buy this just because, as I say, converter's dream right here.
Yeah.
I want to make a Gene Stealer cult land made out of it. Simple as.
I'm just fascinated to see where they take them as well, because one thing that's characterised the 9th Ed codices is that they've been quite unexpected in the way they've taken some of the armies. They're quite surprising in many respects. So, yeah, I'm fascinated. Absolutely fascinated.
What do you guys think of the video? Do you remember the video?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fine. It seems absolute. It's nothing really that blows my socks off.
So if I said that all I could hear for the next 3 hours after watching that video was the music from the first Fable game, because honestly, it just reminded me of Fable so much.
Right, okay, that is an odd segue.
It just did.
Oh, God, Peter Molyneux. Oh, my God, no.
Don't speak his name. If you speak his name, he might appear.
Stop lying to me, Peter. Stop lying to me.
Peter Molyneux is the... No, I'm not making that joke, right?
No, we could get dragged down a friggin' rabbit hole here. We could get dragged right down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I've got a joke.
That's a whole conversation.
Yeah. Peter Molyneux, stop it. If anybody needs their jaw wired shut, it's him. Anyway, right. Andy, any thoughts on the God Emperor's engine?
I don't like it personally. I think it's very close to the, what were they called? The Space Marine Centurions, the teddy bear armor.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, the ones where you basically had like a Space Marine in armor strapped into a big suit of armor.
That's what this is. It's like it's a love child between this and. Do you remember the Sisters of Battle one where they had the naked lady on front of the big giant robot thing?
The penitent engine.
The sort of the penitent engine.
Yeah, it's kind of the weird half-breed children of those two things.
I can see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the Dreadnought equivalent, basically, isn't it?
I would assume so, yeah.
Back in Second Ed, when they didn't have the distinctions between the races back then. So you had the Orc Dreadnought, and you had the Elder Dreadnought, and you had the Chaos Dreadnought, and so on and so forth. This is the Sisters of Battle one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would assume so. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I think it looks a bit on the silly side. But I'm not a big Sisters of Battle player. I don't think it's a bad idea filling out the roster a bit more because they had that big release. When was it? Some point left 2019. Was it 2000 or was it 20 or was it 19?
I think it was in 2020. I think it was the beginning of last year.
I think it was early 2020. I think
January, February. Yeah.
Whichever one it was, they got an okay amount of units, but yeah, you're right. They need to.
It needs filling out.
Yeah, and once we get a codex, we'll see how many more units they need to, get to finally kind of clean them up. Because did they get a new tank or vehicle or not?
They did. I want to say they got some. Was it like a rhino with an organ on it or something like that?
They did, yes, you're absolutely correct.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called for the life of me. But yes, it's like a big, elaborate, moving cathedral, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, they must be nearly done, I guess? I don't know. I don't know. They're slowly filling out, and hopefully it means once this is done... I was going to say they'll put the Space Marines to bed, which we know that won't be the case.
Not a chance.
Because they'll just be the other chapters that get stuff in the future. But hopefully that means now the Sisters are kind of nearly finished.
Yeah.
They'll be able to kind of move on to hopefully redo some of the other races. But I think that's a just, shot in the dark and hoping to prayer more so than anything else.
I mean, what the Sisters really need is, because they are, unlike the Space Marines, and even unlike the Astra Militarium, they are down in the guts of Imperial society. So in the fiction, and in the background, if you read the older codices, a lot of the sort of warfare they conduct is in rabble rousing. They get the flagellants and the masses together and herd them towards the enemy. That's what the Sisters of Battle need.
Yeah.
They need more like, flagellant, ragged Imperial citizenry just herded forward into the guns of the enemy. I want to see that.
Can you imagine if they just did a Imperial citizens bloody hell, Imperial Citizens, thank you, box set, where you just had like a load of parts where you could just make a load of people, just average everyday people with a crappy little guns.
Scribes, all of that stuff. That was so much fun. Administratum personnel. Yeah,
right.
It's so much fun.
Games Workshop, you have a tendency of either listening to what we say for some reason or weird synchronicity. We want that. We want a box of Imperial citizens that could be placed into the Sisters of Battle or Imperial Guard or Space Marines, I suppose, or Inquisitors or anything like that. Just a box of people with just average everyday stuff, crowbars, and because that would just be gorgeous, and I want it.
Well, the Sisters of Battle are the best place to do it. In the main game, they are the best place to do it, because they don't really fit anywhere else. So.
I think you could probably put them into any Imperial army. Probably not Space Marines, you're absolutely right.
No,
but,
it would be difficult for Space Marines.
Yeah. But if you could have a unit of them in the Sisters, you could have it in Inquisitors, you could have it in...
the Inquisitors,
Imperial
definitely.
Guard.
They fit with the Inquisitors, yeah.
I really like that idea, so do it.
Yes, 'tis the command.
This I recommend.
That's an old one.
Yep, that's a very old joke. Somewhere Stu's ears just pricked up. Huh? Ben Serpentor, eat your wheat cakes. That's weird. Welcome to 2009, everyone.
Oh, God.
That's a long time ago. Right, so moving on then, shall we talk a little bit about Kill Team Pariah
Kill
Nexus?
Team! Oh, always happy to have more Kill Team.
I'm going to just sit back now and let Andy take this.
Are you?
Yes, because I thought you'd be quite happy to talk about the one thing in here that I saw you talking about a lot on the Facebook group, which was...
Oh, that's because the rest of the stuff I talked was the DMs between us on Facebook.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kill Team's coming back, boys. They're doing another box. It's similar to... Oh, God, what was the Rogue Trader one called? Was it just called Rogue Trader?
Yeah, it was just called Rogue Trader.
I think it was just called Rogue Trader.
Kill Team Rogue Trader, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically that, but now we've got the rest of the release for the Necrons. At least two more releases for the Necrons. We've still got like
Cryptek.
We've got. I think we've still got 2 more Mancers to come out though.
There is, yeah.
Yes, right? There's a couple of the Mancers, the Crypteks. I don't know. I can't remember which ones there are. Is it the Plasmancer we haven't got yet?
Yep, Plasmancer's not out.
Right.
Chronomancer, Plasmancer. Yeah, there's one other one which I can't remember.
No,
because this is the Chronomancer, isn't it?
Yeah.
This one.
Which is
and hey, more Space Marines. So Yeah.
Well, to get them out the
We
way,
need more.
the Space Marines look nice. They are well.
They look great. I mean,
Sure,
they
sure.
do
I
look,
mean, it's
well
the Space
sculpted.
Marines. They look like Space Marines.
they look like Space Marines. Yeah, they're nice
Yeah.
sculpts. In fact, they're really nice sculpts. You know, they're very precise and clean, as Space Marines are wont to be. You know.
There's more heft to these. To this armor than there has been for the Primaris, because the Primaris
This
are
is the
usually quite
Gravis
thin.
armor,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah,
That's right.
so I quite like the fact that they've got a bit more chunk to them.
Yeah, there is a real sense of weight to these guys, isn't there?
Yeah, which I quite like. There's one of them. I'm just trying to find him now. Where is he at?
I think he's the sergeant that I like, the one without the helmet, who's sort of like doing the
pointing.
two-fingered. Yeah, love that. He's very dynamic. I like him.
So it's the
Are
guy.
these meant to be like a heavy team,
Yeah,
a Devastator squad, effectively,
Yes,
but only with one
yeah.
type of weapon on them?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, they've got
Okay.
bolt rifles, I believe. These guys.
I guess.
The heavy bolters, maybe. But then,
I don't think they're heavy
they're
bolters.
not-
Those look like bolt rifles to me.
it's there's a guy with a bloody shotgun. Oof. Oh, I like that. That's nice. This the guy who has the heavy bolter is the one that I was looking for. I like the distribution of weight on his legs, which
Yeah.
is a really weird one to say, I know, but it makes it look like he's absorbing the shock and the recoil of it firing.
It really does, doesn't it? It looks like he's sort of like the right leg is it's staggered. You know,
Yeah.
he's sort of grinding it into the ground. It's very good. It's very good. I like that.
And the oh my god, the flares. That's great.
The flayers are great because flayers have had a hard time in codices and releases past. They haven't really been that good. You know, they've both in terms of their battlefield presence and the miniatures, they've been a bit naff.
Yeah,
generally. But these guys are gorgeous.
They-
They're ghouls.
Yeah.
they're 40k science fiction ghouls, is what they are.
I think we've talked about the ghouls and actually all the Necron stuff quite a bit from
We have, yeah,
previous releases. So it's kind of nice to see them coming, but also a bit of a disappointing thing that this is the fastest way that you're going to be able to get them. And obviously,
Right.
if you want to army build Necrons, good luck. You're going to just have to wait for them to do the individual releases, however long that takes. I will say I do like the scenery pieces that they come with for the
me too.
for the set. Weird little the Necron doors are really good, and then you get
Yep.
these little Necron
Blocks.
power conduit boxes or something.
Yeah, I like boards, to be honest with you. It's one of those things I've really started to enjoy over the last couple of years, which I think Rogue Trader's fault, all in all.
Yes,
So,
yeah,
That's
it
fair,
wouldn't
yeah.
surprise me.
so,
I don't think the board's as interesting as Rogue Traders.
No, I'd agree there. I would agree there. But it's nice to have a game board come out and you just have it and you play the game on it. You know, it's one of those
Yeah,
things.
that is a nice thing, isn't it? That is a nice thing.
I am tempted by this, I'll be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I'm tempted just for the Necrons. I really love that Chronomancer. I think he's spectacular.
I'm tempted by it for the pure fact that I really enjoyed Rogue Trader, Kill Team Rogue Trader. I thought it was a really fun game. It was easy to play. Really
Yep.
enjoyed it. So I'm probably going to get this because it looks like it'll work really well as an all-in-one. Now,
Yeah.
do I think it'll stay an all-in-one? No.
No.
Absolutely not. But yeah, the scenery is nice. The miniatures are nice. It'll be fun to paint them. Yeah, it looks pretty good. If it goes over 120, though, I think that's going to be too much.
That's maybe a bit much.
Do you
for
remember
what
how
you get
much
in the
Rogue
box.
Trader was?
I paid less than 100.
About 80.
Yeah, I want to say about 80.
I was going to say, I think I got it at TF Nation at one point.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was like 75 quid. Yeah.
Because
I would imagine that's how much this should be.
Yeah, I'd say you're probably right. Because I actually got it when me and you went down to the Metro Centre anniversary.
That's right,
the
yeah.
Birthday day.
Birthday day.
Birthday day. Shall we move on?
Yeah, Titanicus.
Yeah.
A little bit of Titanicus.
Attack of the...
He's a big un.
I mean, I'm not a Titanicus player. Is anybody here a Titanicus player?
No. I admire it from afar.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been a bigger fan of the background for the Titans than the actual miniatures and whatnot, you know? I just love the notion that they are basically mechs, you know, that the pilots are wired into them and that there's almost like a sentience in these things. That's kind of cool. I like that.
I just wish there was a bit more distinction between one faction and another rather than everybody using the same models and just painting them up differently, which is fine. I understand the setting and everything like that. But
even
also
so,
be nice if there was like some Orc stuff to fight or some Eldar stuff to fight or some, just Chaos versions. Maybe it's too early in the fiction for there to be the Chaos corrupted versions.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, if you're in the Horus Heresy, I mean, there wouldn't be as many and it wouldn't be as profound, but there are Chaos corrupted Titans knocking about in some of the fiction.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's no reason why not. It's definitely started to work its corruption already.
Right.
I mean, this mini here is... I try to stay positive.
It's a big block of thing.
Yeah,
You were really hoping it was the one with the church on its back.
Oh, the
That's what you were
Imperator.
thinking
Yeah,
earlier.
You wanted the Imperator, didn't
I
you?
hoped it was an Imperator because the Imperator is ridiculous.
Yeah, of course it is. Do you remember, I loved it when they first came out with it, you know, and it was one of those to own miniatures.
Oh
wasn't it?
yeah. I mean, I had one, and I didn't play Titanicus. You know.
No, I only played a couple of games with a friend of mine. You know, that was a fun game.
Yeah.
That was a fun game, so different from all the other 40k, like 40k setting games, where you had like, what I remember about it is the way you moved and everything was, you had to, it was a much broader scale sense of war, so you had to issue commands and orders, and sometimes your units would do things that you didn't really expect, which was great fun.
Oh yeah,
it was great fun.
I always remember the Tyranids in Titanicus, or in Epic, I should say. The way that they ran was just so bizarre.
Yeah, it was very strange, wasn't it? But cool. Such an interesting thing.
Well, you basically almost had like an AI running everything for you, you know.
Yeah, it was so weird. They had like instinctual behaviours, didn't they? That you had to sort of pattern. You had to almost like predict and preempt what they were going to do at any one time.
Yeah, it was so weird. I remember just sitting mesmerised in the local War Games club, just watching someone play, just going, I don't understand how this is going to work for you.
Yeah, it's a really strange thing to wrap your head around as a player.
But for this mini here, I'm not a huge fan. I think there's just too much gribble going on.
Okay.
I don't know how to... I understand why, because it's to show the sense of scale and it's to show the size of the thing, and you've got all these mechanisms and everything working, and I don't think it's bad, it's just really not to my taste.
Not your aesthetic, yeah?
It's, I think what it is, if you look everything above the head, it just reminds me of Michael Bay's Transformers.
Oh no, it's not that bad.
I see, right. So it's too many parts, yeah?
Yeah, it's... don't get me wrong, it isn't anywhere near as much of a fucking bag of knives as a Michael Bay Transformers design. But it kind of puts me in that mindset, so I think that's kind of why it turns me off.
Okay.
This is an intermediary Titan as well, isn't it? It's like in between the Warlord and the Imperator.
It is, yeah. It's, I mean, it's nowhere near as big as... How fucking big is an Imperator going to be?
Well, this is like the leg of an Imperator, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about the size of the foreleg of the Imperator.
Are we assuming that they will actually do one? Because, I mean, it is going to be ridiculously
It's going to be
big.
huge if they do. I mean, it's going to be difficult. I wouldn't put it past them.
Like, if it's going to be as big as, it could potentially be... It sounds like it'd be more of a Forge World release if they were doing Forge World stuff.
Yeah.
And that means it would be, like, going into the hundreds to thousands.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if... I think because it would be so big, it would probably more than likely go into the thousands. And if it's going to be that much... Would they do it? I don't know.
No, it's problematic on this scale. It's very problematic on this scale.
Make a papercraft one.
Also, like, in terms of how it would play as well, it would have to be a bit of scenery, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It couldn't move. It would be ridiculous. What kind of battlefield would you have for that to work, you know?
Maybe it would move, like, every 3 turns or more.
Yeah.
Because it would take that long for, like, one leg to...
To lift and yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's actually just got a movement of like 3 inches. Yeah, just very slow.
As an aside, does anyone... I mean, do you guys remember when they did the Chaos conversion of the Imperator, Abominatus?
Yes, I do.
No, I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
that was a White Dwarf thing.
Who the hell did it? It was, I want to say, was it Paul Sawyer that did it?
I can't remember who did it, but it was a big thing. It featured in a lot of battle reports and whatnot.
Yeah. I'm gonna...
And then they never did like an official Chaos Imperator. What a waste, you know?
Oh.
I'm going to quickly look that up because it's going to...
There were only 2 of that scale of Titan. The Imperium had one and the Orcs had one.
Oh, the Mega Gargant.
The Mega Gargant, yeah, which was great fun because it would like fail all the time.
Yeah.
It would like explode or veer off or whatever, you know?
Apparently it was... it wasn't Gav Thorpe, was it?
Was it Gav Thorpe who did Abominatus?
I don't think so. It might have been.
That was someone who's still around, technically, you know?
So I found the scan of the picture, but it's so bad that I can't actually see the name of it. Adrian Wood. Ah, right.
Oh, was it Adrian Wood? Right, okay, the artist.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and this
Interesting.
this scan only has little bits of it. White Dwarf 194. Okay, I'm going to scan that in later today, and I'll put that up with the episode.
Brilliance. Absolutely.
Not the issue. I want to say not the issue, just the article.
No, just the article. Yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
Just realised what I was saying there. It's like, no, I don't mean that.
No. And of course, it's coming with a book as well, isn't it? This miniature, the Adeptus Titanicus, Horus Heresy, the Loyalist Legios is what we're getting first.
When this first turned up, I thought it said Loyalist Eggs. And I was really confused for a second.
All right. But that does imply a Chaos book, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Later down the line, Traitor Legios, you know?
I really like the artwork on the front of this book. I like the scale of the Warhounds. I love Warhounds.
Yeah, Warhounds are cool.
They're just so cool. And they're even better in Chaos when they're...
like massive spoilers, but it's one of them that eventually takes out Foryx, isn't it?
Yeah.
Eventually. Takes like 10,000 years, but...
One of my...
it gets there in the end.
Gets there in the end.
One of my favourite things about the Warhounds is the... I can't remember who... It's Fabius, one of Fabius's minions. They're in one Warhound and they've got 3 others linked to them. And they've just got this...
psychically linked.
Yeah, they've got this hunting pack of Warhounds. And it's like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's in Manflayer,
It is,
isn't
yeah. I absolutely
It is
love
very
it.
cool, I've got to say.
Okay, moving on then. Shall we talk about what happens when a designer decides to take a fuck ton of LSD and start sculpting?
I love these guys so much. That the fox god demon thing. It's very sort of Shintoist. It's very Japanese, this guy. Don't you find?
Uh-huh.
I love him. I think he's absolutely fantastic. Severeth, Lord of the Seventh Wind. Absolutely spectacular.
Or as I've been calling him, the Hornicane.
Yeah.
I mean, what is he? Because
I don't know. He seems to be it's like a realm spirit, doesn't he? You know how the Lumineth have got this very sort of pantheistic thing going on, where they are linked to the elements of the realms themselves. He's like he's a demon, essentially. He's a demon or an angel. You know, he's a manifestation of the realms themselves.
and he's fox legs and
Foxtail.
Foxtail.
He's very cool. I love him. I think he's spectacular.
He's absolutely gorgeous, and I don't know what the Lumineth are going to end up looking like when this is finished, because this is way, way, way beyond anything I expected. Yeah, I mean,
it's out there. I was not expecting them to go down this route of them having actual like elemental avatars, you know, sort of like fey creatures and spirits and demons wandering around. But that does seem to be where they're going with them.
yeah.
Well, maybe. I mean, this is a hero unit rather than something that will probably fill out the ranks. I'm not sure if that really means we're going to get a huge amount, or whether it's going to be really limited to just a few special cases like this guy.
I think we're probably going to get one for every element.
You think so?
Because
that would be
this guy,
fascinating.
you've got the earth, in the Mutants, whatever they're actual called, whose name I can't remember. So I can imagine that over time, what you'll see is every element getting
Every
some
element
kind of
represented. Yeah.
getting some kind of representation, whether it be a hero or a monster.
Okay.
Because I mean, have you guys read the Lumineth book?
No.
Yes, love it.
Right.
Friggin' love it. It was brilliant. I can't believe how good it is. I'm like, this is a high elf book. I shouldn't be interested in this. I should be bored. I should be bored to death.
A lot of what's in that book is the idea of connecting to the realm on a spiritual level.
Yeah. They're almost not real. Like the Lumineth themselves are almost not real. They're almost like, it's like they're expressions of the realm in a weird kind of way. It's really bizarre. Well, they exist in this slightly twilight state where they're sort of half dreaming and half real. It's really strange.
They're the halfway point between a traditional fantasy elf and something that comes out of like Fey folk mythology. Yeah,
right.
There's a lot of the Japanese and Celtic mythology that's been adapted to slot them into place. There's a hell of a lot of the very old European. There's a word I'm looking for here, and it's not coming to me. But like old Western Europe mythology that's been slotted into place here, and when you look at something like this, you can see that it's leaning towards the Japanese side, but still has elements of the other two. But then you look at the Mutant, and that's got elements of the Celtic mythology, but is the little bit of Japanese as well there. And it's, they're managing to balance these concepts so perfectly.
Really well, yeah.
Ranging right the way from the ground troops, which are leading into the more traditional fantasy elf, right the way through into these mythological, legendary style of concepts. I mean, the lady with the veil on her face, she is so much a really old Scottish Celt bit of mythology. I mean, she might as well have just walked out of the old tellings of the Sword in the Stone. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. And then you see something like this guy, and he's leading so far into various ideas and various concepts, but then tying them all together, this beautiful package.
So many cultural touchstones and influences all sort of married in one aesthetic. It's very clever. It's very difficult to do.
Yeah, and
it's very difficult to do.
The fan of arrows on his back. I mean, that, like, given the idea of the peacock feathers, that is absolutely top notch.
The more I look at him, the more I think he's like one of those miniatures that's just out there, you know. It's such a step ahead of almost everything else.
I can see this guy making a really big appearance in the miniature of the year for next year.
Yeah, me too. Painters are going to go nuts with this guy.
Absolutely.
There are people who just buy him just because they want to paint him. I'm going to do that, you know.
Andy.
Yes.
Go on, tell me about your wind.
My wind? Yes. Why must I tell you about my wind?
Because
that's very personal.
You are the lord of the personal wind.
The personal wind.
Yes.
What a chaotic god power that is.
What do you think of Severith?
He's a smelly elf.
He's a smelly elf, yeah.
He's a smelly elf.
No,
it's a very nice mini, though. It's a very nice mini. I will say I was fooled. I thought his little gusts of stuff coming off of him was going to be a Winds of Magic spell rather than a character.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
That's what I assumed, because when we got the preview, we just kind of got the base part, and we had no context that it was like holding up a mini. So again, they're doing the whole thing of, oh no, let me hope I never drop this model, because it looks like it's got like 4 or 5 fairly thin, smallish connection points to the base, which is kind of concerning as usual, but I'm sure I'll be fine. Just, don't ever break it.
No.
Oh, transporting that guy is going to be evil.
Yeah.
I think the worst
it's another one.
The worst part's actually the bow. Because if you look at
the string.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you look how far out that comes, you're just like, oh dear. That makes me scared. I've just noticed that the tip is on fire.
Yeah, right. It's so good, isn't it? It's so good.
This is ridiculous. I keep noticing new things.
Right, I'm in awe of that one. I've got to say, I can't believe that I'm that interested in a friggin' high elf miniature.
When I was talking to James, whilst all this stuff was coming out, I sent him a message that just said, "Do you see?" And he just said back, "Ah!"
And of course, we've got leading into that. We've got the new Broken Realms book, which we've been, Adam, we've been hankering after for God knows how long.
Yeah, New Broken Realms, and I'm surprised it's techless.
I am too, but I'm kind of pleased at the same time. Very interesting. He's going after Nagash.
Yeah, because techless is going to fuck up the act of dying.
Right. I mean, I'm surprised. I'm guessing that what this book is going to be about, it's going to be Teclis and by extension the Lumineth and Nagash and the forces of the dead learning about Slaanesh.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very clear to me that at the beginning of this book, Teclis isn't going to know about that, because if he knew about that, there's no way Nagash would even register.
No. I think he's going to go after Nagash, and Nagash is just going to basically go, "Oh, you idiot. Whilst you're over here making a mess in my house, over there, someone's eating yours."
Right. And it could even be them learning about Morathai, you know.
Here's a question for you. Look at the cover of the Teclis book. Who's that in the bottom corner?
Oh, yeah.
Who is that?
Is that the cat thing? That's the cat thing, isn't it?
No,
I don't think
no,
so.
it's not. If you look at the big picture, if you zoom right in, it's a person. It's a person wearing a very large horn. I think that's the child.
Do you think that's the Slaanesh child?
I do. If you look at how it's dressed.
Oh, interesting.
It's not Tyrion. Because if that's he's had a massive change.
Yeah.
His skin looks pallid. And those horns look like they're growing out of him. It doesn't look like a hat. It might be. I mean, it's hard to say because it's very desaturated and it's very
it's difficult to see like what it is, but even so, God Almighty, that'd be interesting if there's actually we're going to get a visualization of what it actually looks like.
Hang on, are those wings? Or is that just no? It's hard to say.
Hard to tell.
Yeah,
it could be a cape, a billowing cape.
Yeah,
hard to say. But I'm fascinated. I am really interested to see, because there's lots going on in the Elven Kingdoms at the moment. I'm not surprised that they're focusing heavy early on the Elven Kingdoms, because there's so much. There's so much to take into account. I think what they're trying to do is create a new dynamic for them.
Yeah.
Trying to give them a bit more of their own flavour, apart from just being just part of the forces of order.
I'm still putting my hand out and saying that there is going to be a battle tome elf.
Something like that, yeah. I think there's going to be something like that. But even then, there's like divisions, aren't there? So
yeah.
You've now got the Blood Brides of Cain and the Ideneth in a loose association.
Yeah, which I still think is like the best thing in the world.
That's really interesting. That is really interesting, and I'm wondering if the new battle tome is going to lean into that. I
would say that there is. I mean, did anyone else feel that the new battle tomes? It's been a bit quick to get this one out.
It's been I don't know. I mean, when was the last one? When was the last Daughters of Cain? It was a while ago.
Apparently, it's 2019. It feels like
was it?
It feels like it was soon. It was. It wasn't that long back, but apparently, 2019. I need to look it up, to be honest with you. It could just literally be that last year meant nothing, and last year it was a weird 6 weeks to 18 years of a year.
I mean,
so I don't know. It just feels like this is real quick.
To be fair, the last Daughters of Cain book, it's good. It's actually really interesting, but it's a bit anemic.
Yes.
It doesn't have much in it.
No.
It's very, when you compare it and contrast it to some of the other battle tomes that are out there, it's very, 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 very thin.
I mean, it's the same as like most of the starter ones, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. So I'm kind of pleased, and the fact that this battle tome is occurring at the same time as the Hedonites. That's great. That's really cool. That's going to be a full month for me.
You got to wonder how interlinked those two are going to be in terms of the laws that they both provide.
Yeah, because there's definitely a relationship there, isn't there? So
there must be, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, there definitely is, given the last Broken Realms book. I mean, Morothai's responsible. She doesn't mean to do it, but she's responsible for Slaanesh being freed and reborn.
True.
You know, she's done screwed up, basically.
I do want to point this out here. Which there's two things on the cover of the Daughters of Cain book which instantly caught my eye. The first up is, anyone notice that the Medusa at the on the front there has got a scorpion tail?
Yeah, I did
Yes,
notice
yeah.
that.
That must be a new miniature or something, because that doesn't exist. And the second is, look at all the fire, and you've got the bloody-handed avatar rising up from the background, and you've got all these scantily clad ladies with giant knives, and there's just blood and gore, and then it says order.
It's a bit more
battle
epic,
tome.
isn't it?
It's
You
just
haven't been to
more
Newcastle
epic.
on the night, have you, George?
No, not of a night, no.
It's pretty much the same.
But it's a bit more like epic than what we've seen
Yeah.
from the Daughters of Cain thus far. They up until this point, they have very much been in the shadows. It's all been subterfuge, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So this looks like open warfare.
Yeah, definitely.
I just like the fact that it's a really dark, burning, bloody cover, and it just says order battle tome.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
noticed that
right.
as well. That's still interesting that they're still classed as an order faction,
Yeah.
whatever
Well,
that means in this day
In
and
that
age.
instance, that probably means that the other Order factions are not aware of what they've been up to. Not yet, anyway.
I mean, that is just a pure chaos cover, and I love the juxtaposition between the two. I just think it's brilliant.
Beautiful. It is beautiful. I mean, I'll be ordering both of them when they come out. You know, just automatically. Because I first of all, I love the Daughters of Cain. I think they're a fantastic force anyway. And I'm just interested to see narratively where they are now. After the last battle, after the last Broken Realms, I want to know where they are and what they're doing.
Do you think they'll get any, maybe not huge new units, but do you think they'll get like maybe one or two other little fancy ones just to shove into the book?
I should think so, because again, they are a bit thin on the ground.
Yeah.
There are not many choices or options in the Daughters of Cain.
Do you remember the starting of the Cain, Sisters of Cain, Daughters of Cain box set? It pretty much had their entire army roster in it.
Basically.
It's like 3. Something
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, we've got the gorgeous Endless spells, and I mean,
Yes.
these are some of the best they've ever done.
Yeah, they're really good.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
Right, okay, right. If we're going to talk about the endless spells, I need to get my composure together. Right, okay. First up, lots of big bloody knives. They are really cool. The blade wind is really cool.
It's lovely.
Then we've got what I can only describe as a 3rd edition Warhammer piece of art in 3D.
I can see that, yeah.
That looks to me like it's just, you know, how they had... So yeah, what I was saying was, this thing looks like it's just an old, like, Wayne England or Mark Gibbons piece of art made into 3D.
Yeah.
And I love it. I don't think I'll ever... I'm actually considering the idea, will I buy these just to paint? Because I would like that just to have it as just like a thing that I've got.
Like a display
Yeah,
piece. Yeah, that Fist of Cain with the heart
Yeah,
of Cain.
it's-
It's so cool.
And then we've got the snake!
The snake is amazing.
Holy
the snake
mother
is
of God!
beautiful.
The blood rack viper.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's got a proper snake tongue. You don't know how much that is something that absolutely blows my mind, because no one ever gets a snake tongue right. No one.
No, you're right. It always goes back into the throat, doesn't it? Which it
does.
doesn't.
No.
For snakes, you know.
No, it comes out of the lower jaw. Yeah, through that little holy bit. That makes me happy, and the fact that it's just a giant dripping blood snake. It's like, this is amazing, and I want to paint it green.
Is a snake's tongue like the handkerchief trick where you can just keep pulling it out?
Yeah, but unfortunately there's a point where you start pulling like the back of the tail out and everything as well.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you turned the snake inside
The
out?
snake
Oh, that's
turns
cool.
inside out. What do you think happened to this poor guy?
right.
He's just an inside-out snake.
My God.
Yeah, they're some of the best endless spells I've seen, actually.
They
They're
really are.
really cool.
Yeah, they're the most striking, probably for me, since the not endless spells for the Blades of Corn.
Yeah, I like that. The not endless spells. Yeah,
They're totally not endless spells.
No, they're
'Cause
not. No,
I remember seeing the Lumineth ones and being very kind of blech on
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
They weren't terrible. They were just like, there's some endless spells.
A bit
Okay.
perfunctory, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit perfunctory, yeah. But those chord ones are amazing. What are they called? They're called
Blood prayers or something like that. It's
something
Sounds
like
about
that.
right. Yeah.
Judgments. They're called
Judgments,
judgments.
yeah.
Judgments
Oh.
of Corn. Judgments of Corn. Yeah, they're very cool. They're very cool indeed. I love the skull that weeps blood.
Yeah. I think those two, these two sets of spells go together really well. It's a nice
They do.
little set.
Well, I mean, that makes a lot of sense because, of course, in the background, Cain and Corn, they're basically the same.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that I have to now name this episode "The Skull That Weeps Blood."
The skull that weeps blood.
That is the most noirish thing you've ever said, George. I love it.
That sounds like an M.R. James story, that does.
I was thinking it sounds like a brilliant Lovecraftian private detective story.
But God, heavy reading next month. You know, the Hedonites, obviously. I mean, the Hedonites are just going to be like they are my transition. They're my transition to AOS. It's as simple as that. That's what they're going to be because it's everything I want from Slaanesh, you know, in one book and one miniatures range. It's everything I want. But these guys, I just want to know. I'm interested in the politics, you know?
Yeah.
How is Morothai keeping what she's doing and done from everyone else?
Well, she can't be because she invaded and took over a city.
She did, but I wonder, is there some sort of way she can keep that from, you know, or justify it? Is there a way she could justify, it was Chaos Corrupted.
Yeah.
Oh, I found out that they were worshipping Slaanesh or something, you know?
I don't think it actually says in the Marathi book what she said to anyone else or how she's...
No, we haven't got there yet.
No.
We don't know, like, how everyone else is reacting, what everyone knows and doesn't know. I mean, surely, if nothing else, some of the factions, they're going to know that Slaanesh has been freed and reborn. They're going to know just because of the metaphysical, the quake it will send out.
Yeah.
So,
the pleasure quake.
The pleasure quake, yeah.
Replacement for the necro quake.
Well, we know from some of the short stories that have been released on Warhammer Community that Khorne knows. Khorne knows. Khorne has been launching his forces against the Hedonites that are all gathered around the Slaanesh child.
Yeah.
We know that. So if Khorne knows, then Tzeentch will know. Nurgle will know. But the others, the gods of order, I don't know.
That will be an interesting one, actually. Yeah, how is Sigmar... Does Sigmar know? Does Sigmar care? You know, is he just like, right, locking the doors again?
Right, yeah. Or is he like, I knew this was going to happen. Teclis, you told me to bring her in.
Yeah. God damn it, Teclis.
And Teclis is going to be really narked. He's going to be really annoyed because he did vouch for Morothai.
He did, yeah. How good would it be if the first words when you open up the Teclis book is just no?
yeah.
It's just, and today Teclis decided to leave the house. The realm of life ended.
No.
Slaanesh was reborn, basically. Like, the bane of all elven kind
God damn it,
has
Teclis.
been reborn. It's like, well done, Teclis.
I
Well done.
do have to say that it does look like Teclis has got really big slices of cucumber attached to his belt on the front of his book.
Yes, it does. Yeah, well, you
Does
gotta
a
have
little
something
bit.
on the road.
Does a little bit.
God damn it. I've got these magical totems. That's cucumber Teclis. That's like...
I
Kiwi
get
fruit.
I have a feeling that we're prevaricating because we know that, like, the next bit is just going to be, like, just fangasming, basically.
I'm just waiting to see how long I can make Andy wait. That's my plan here.
I've been following so many people on Twitter, you know, fans and whatnot, people like Kirioth and whatnot, and all they're talking about is this lot.
Should we get it?
It's the most important thing.
Yep.
It's the second most important thing, thank you. The most important thing is the name Nundan. Go on, Andy, do you want to take it?
Yeah, we can go with the Diachasm stuff first for the Warhammer Underworld stuff, as they revealed the new warband, the Crimson Court, with 4 little boys and girls, 3 little boys and 1 little girl, all of vampires, with lots of references to the old different houses.
Yeah.
I can't remember each of the names,
No.
they're not on here, but we can see them all.
the von Carsteins, the Lamians.
Oh no, I
the
meant each
Strigoi
of
and all that.
I meant each of the individual characters we have. Like
Oh,
someone
right.
the cursed, I can't remember, Goroth or something like that, the enforcer. They also hint at how they're going to work and talk about the control their hunger, but doesn't really elaborate on what that means. But I assume that means you have to keep them in combat as much as possible.
I would assume that's the case. Yeah.
So they're going to struggle against like keep away factions.
Yeah.
But my god,
Right, so
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. These miniatures are insane.
They're a little nice. They're a little nice.
I think it makes them even better if you know about the history of vampires in AOS and Fantasy Battle, because the vampires have never been like miniature wise. They've struggled.
yeah.
Well, how many have they had? Because you were talking about these are the best ones that we had, and I think the newest one that I can think of, the newest vampire was the Arkan, Manfred, and
Yeah,
That's
the
right.
Mortarks.
set.
Yeah.
Neferata, the Mortarks. Yeah,
And
that's
that
right.
that set's not super new either, is it?
No, that came
not
out for
really.
the end times.
That came
then-
out in End
Yeah.
Times. Yeah.
And then
yeah,
what
it
was
did.
before that?
The Vampire Counts. So
Oh, God.
Yeah, it would have been the
So
Vampire
probably-
Counts forces.
So the Vlad, the Isabella, the Manfred, the ones with the really kind of wonky. Well, I don't want to say wonky because they were sculpted by a human being,
Yes.
rather than done by a computer, which these are. So yeah, it's been a while since they've actually had solid representation. These look like the vampires that you'd see in Nosgoth from the Legacy of Kain games.
Yes,
Maybe
there's-
Vampire of the Masquerade if you want.
Yeah, there's heavy Legacy of Kain energy going on here. I mean, one of them, the sort of lead vampire, it's Kain. It's frigging Kain. You know, it looks just
yeah.
like him.
The enforcer, it reminds me of. I'm looking at this one here, and he's Raziel. Yeah, he's absolutely
Yeah.
Raziel.
Oh, the cursed one
Yeah.
with the wings.
Yeah,
definitely.
it's Raziel before he was chucked in the abyss, isn't it?
Yes.
basically.
Love him. He is.
If you sculpted
Gorgeous.
like a little mask over the bottom of his face, you're well away, aren't you? That's Raziel.
And I am. Oh my god. I know a lot of people are. They're not pleased that it's not a full battle tome. It's.
Oh wait,
But
just give it time.
wait, 'cause-
just
Yeah.
give it time.
I think that this is probably going to be the precursor to a full vampire battle tome.
This
mean,
is
we were
such
talk-
a seismic shift in aesthetics for vampires.
We were talking about this between ourselves again on the Facebook, and during this whole reveal, they never once talked about the vampire lord that we saw with
No.
the bats in its
No.
hair.
No.
So, I mean, it's clearly not for the cursed city, which we'll talk about in a
Right.
bit as well.
No, because
it's
it
clearly
was a
not
blister
for that.
pack. Yeah, it was.
Exactly. Yeah, we didn't see. So it would be weird to have. At worst, what it will be is a Soulblight book, and they'll shove zombies in there. They'll shove this new vampire hero in there,
Yeah.
and they'll throw a few other things in there, like a corpse cart and crap like that. And it will be a half baked thing. But I can't imagine with what looks like is coming in the Cursed City and these specific vampires here.
Right.
It'd be odd not to do a full release.
It would. You're absolutely right.
Especially since both you and Adam have talked about the whole fracturing of death with the vampires as well in previous episodes.
Yeah, it seems to be something they're building towards. I don't know how they're going to do it. Like, in terms of background, it's going to be really interesting because they're going to have to do something whereby metaphysically the vampires become separate from Nagash.
Yeah.
And that's really difficult because, of course, he has auspices. He has authority over all of the creatures of undeath. But the seeds are already there. The seeds are already there. Manfred chafes under Nagash's rule, hates it. Neferata's never been... she's eternally ambitious. She's never really gotten on with being under Nagash's rule. The Flesh Eater courts are sort of 50-50. Some of them worship Nagash, some of them hate him. So the seeds are there. It's just how they're going to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be really interesting to see. And in all honesty, if we're going to get things that push these aspects and these concepts further out, I am well and truly in for it.
I'm totally up for that.
Sure.
And anything that gives the vampires more autonomy.
Yeah.
Because I feel they lose something when they are just the vassals of Nagash.
Do we think that the Flesh Eater courts are going to move under the vampires? Or do you think they're going to stay separate?
I think
Well-
they'd stay separate.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure one way or the other. I mean, there's so little in terms of the miniatures range that they could do it.
Mm-hmm.
There is the possibility of it. But once again, they have already distinguished them so much.
Yeah.
They'll probably stay in their own battle tone,
Yeah.
to be honest. But there may be overlap. There may be
Yeah,
overlap
yeah.
between them.
I could see that.
Can we talk about the armor for a second?
It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's stunning.
Jesus Christ, this is like...
It's so good.
I mean, if we look at the lead guy, now I apologise because the names have a tendency of just going straight out my head and I can't remember them. But we're talking about the lead guy with his nice fancy rapier and his bat skull belt and his skull chest piece. And is anyone else just looking at this thing and going, well, it's nice to see that the miniatures have finally caught up to the mid-90s art.
Yep. The problem with the vampires, they've never looked like the artwork.
Nope.
Ever.
Nope.
They've always, in fact, the vampire miniatures have always looked a little bit doofy.
Yeah.
They've always kind of looked like the technology and the ability wasn't there to get them all the way.
Yeah. Absolutely the case. Absolutely. Especially like the blood dragons and whatnot.
yeah.
I mean, have you seen the blood dragon miniatures from the original vampire counts, which look ridiculous?
Yeah, rough, to say the
They're
least.
super old now.
Yeah.
Super old.
But I remember when they first came out, I just didn't like them.
No, they started to get better around the time you had things like the Coven Throne, when you started to get like really good human sculpts.
Yeah.
Human sculpts have always been a problem, and vampires are even more problematic, of course, because they are they're humanoid with its slightly exaggerated features, but it's very difficult to make them look recognizable as vampires, you know, without them looking silly, without them looking ridiculous.
It's one of the things that really interests me is the flow of the armor in the sculpt. It feels almost like Dark Elf, you know, like old Dark Elf.
Yeah, it does a bit.
But it's got that blood dragon weight, heft. I don't know what the word would be. But then you look at the Enforcer, and he looks like he's a blood dragon who's lost his shirt. You know, but then you look at the way his arms are holding that goddamn mace. That goddamn mace, look at it. And then you've got the lad with the wings who's just razzie-ailing his way around, and then you've got the rapier guy with the gorgeous armor, and then you've got the lass with the 80s anime hair and you know, the bustier and the armored leg pieces and everything. And oh my god, I am in love with this range.
They're stunning. I mean, they are. They're absolutely stunning. They are the best vampire miniatures they've ever done. There's no real competition.
They're the best vampire miniatures I've seen, full stop, from anywhere. You know, they are heads and tails above anything that's out there. They're obviously vampires, but they've got their own feel. They've got their own look.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't just feel like here are some Russian, German vampires wandering around, you know.
Right. I mean, what I get the impression, what I think they'll probably do is that they'll move with this aesthetic for the vampires, and they'll move more down this almost like gothic route, the gothic horror route. Whereas I think Nagash and his forces, they're going to be more down the lines of the Ossiarchs.
Yeah.
That's where they're going.
Which makes me sad because I think it means that just your basic skeletons and stuff are they're not long left for the world. Yeah,
I don't think so, because they can't copyright them, can they? You know, they can't they might still be around. They'll probably be called something different. You know.
I think from what we see from the cursed city, from the silhouettes, we're still getting skeletons.
Yeah, but they'll be called something else.
Because there's one specific the silhouette on the character reveal page, which hasn't got anyone apart from the two that we've seen, has a very obvious skeleton shape with a holy shield, and he's got a very pointy hat, kind of a classic one. And maybe they'll put a bit more flesh on it. Did you not see this, by the way, Mr. Gruff?
I kind of caught it very, very quickly, but I didn't get much of a chance to properly look at the site. I'm going to open up the site now.
When we go on to and we talk about it, all you have to do is scroll down to Characters of the Cursed City and click on the coming soon on the Overlords, and you can see he's got a super thin leg, a super thin arm, ratty cape, and what I would say is stereotypical kind of what you would see from the old artwork again for skeleton warriors.
Yeah,
granted, this doesn't mean that the skeletons will transfer over to an army in AOS, and they might just be kept
No.
into this box set. But I wouldn't. I'd be a little bit surprised just because now we have like a skeleton warband, and we have more skeletons here. I think they'll be incorporated into something.
Yeah.
Whether that means, maybe the vampires will raise skeletons, and Nagash's forces will have the more fancy, maybe slightly tougher.
The
Ossiarch
Ossiarch stuff. Yeah.
Have you?
I've got a feeling that might be it.
I'll come to it later on, but I've just noticed the tiny bits of fiction that are with the characters for the Cursed City. Oh yes.
Should we move on to the Cursed City then? Because
we can do if there's nothing else anyone wants to say about the vampires, because
I'm looking forward to them, and I want to know when they're coming out.
Yep,
me too. They're gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. In fact, like Warhammer Underworlds and Diachasm is just all the miniatures, just all of them. Every warband is fantastic.
I think it's much stronger visually than last season's. Yeah. I was barely interested in any of the last season ones, apart from the Daughters of Cain. Nothing else really hit me.
So this one's really caught you.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got a brand new Warhammer quest coming.
Yes! Yay!
Not only
But we don't know in what style, do we?
Nope.
Is it going to be in the Silver Tower style, or is it going to be in the Hammer Hell? What was it? Hammer Hall?
Hammer Hall.
Hammer Hall.
Yeah.
Is it going to be in more that style?
I think they're probably going to take a lot of the elements they took from Blackstone Fortress and move them back.
Oh,
into
yeah.
fantasy.
So it'll be a third different version.
Yeah.
But arguably much better.
Yeah, I think if it's more like Hammer Hall,
the
I'll be happy.
theme.
Yeah.
Like, the theme of this is just going to snare people immediately, because it seems, it's intriguing, isn't it? It's got this sort of wonderful gothic horror thing going on. This notion of plumbing forbidden tombs and whatnot.
Well, I mean,
cursed cities, cursed towns. It sounds great.
What?
It sounds great.
Number one, it's new Warhammer Quest.
Yeah.
Number two, it's new Warhammer Quest set in fantasy. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm all in. 3, it looks like it's going to be super gothic. I am in.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be Warhammer Takes on Deepest Dungeons or Bloodborne. It is. I mean, look at the fucking miniatures. And
Yeah, they're great.
holy shit, someone's played a lot of Bloodborne. And
Oh my god, yeah, he's a hunter, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He's so a hunter, this guy. Jelson Darroch, the vampire hunter. He's a hunter from Bloodborne. Pretty much.
right, I love this. As mean as Derek, they used to say, back in the order. Trust me, boy, they don't know the half of it. Morals are very weak. I mean, yes, he's a bastard. Yes, more.
And they've just gone nuts with him, haven't they? They've just gone, like, the sculpt. I mean, a lot of people don't like the over-sculpting that Games Workshop tends to do these days, like the over-designing. I love it.
Because look at him.
I love it.
Right, since AOS began, I have wanted desperately to see what humans look like proper. Not an old fantasy stuff being brought in and then repainted or any of that type of stuff. I want to see what the designs and the weapons and the clothes of what humans wear now looks like. And oh my god, have they knocked it out the park.
Yeah, he's great.
Fucking look at him. Everything about words fail.
The size of those stakes. What type of vampires is
Big
he
ones!
hunting? Bloody hell.
Big ones.
Vargoofs,
Those are
Vargeist.
massive, aren't they?
Maybe they're not for really big vampires. Maybe it's just to make sure the job gets done.
It's just to make sure, yeah.
I don't know.
Nail
I
them
think
to the ground,
I think we might get a new Vargoof at some point. That would require something large.
It would.
It would, wouldn't it? It would. You're right. Absolutely correct.
Look at the way that the sculpt of the shoulder pads and the armor all works. So that doesn't just feel like it's been factory made and thrown out. That looks like it's been purpose built. Everything about him is absolutely gorgeous. And his hat, oh my god, the hat.
There's a sort of functionalism about him, isn't there? You can actually see all of that working. It functions, which I like.
It's just enough medieval than then being pushed into a steampunk style.
Yeah.
That it sings my name to me every night. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Sorry.
I actually thought they might have used the character from the Silver Shard for this guy instead.
I mean, you could.
What was his name?
If
you remember.
Freaking hell, it's gone out my head entirely.
It's that guy. I thought they might have used him because I was like, I wouldn't say I was disappointed that it wasn't, because I suppose they want to keep book fiction characters and game fiction characters separate. But I wouldn't have complained if it was.
Callus and Tall, so it's is Callus the witch hunter? No, Tall. Hannah Tall. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. He's a bit younger, a bit more Clint Eastwoody than bearded man. But yeah, there's nothing saying that you couldn't just use him in AOS as that. I mean,
not at all. No, he's a witch hunter or something like that.
Look at this.
And of course, counterpointed to him, we've got Gorslav, the Gravekeeper.
Hang on. Let me just pull up Gorslav, the Gravekeeper here, because he's got a little bit of a thing here as well.
He's beautiful. I mean, he is absolutely stunning.
Cleary from Dark Souls 3, the village.
Yeah, so much so.
He needs wings. When you hear the scraping of old Gorslav on his walk, the only sound he ever makes, for he ain't one for talk. Flee then, fool, and hide away, in hope he don't come take, and bind your arms and drag ye off to bury ye awake.
Oof, not nice.
I am in every aspect of this. This is like somebody just reached inside my brain and went, and there you go.
This is like Warhammer horror stuff, isn't it? They've gone hyper gothic with this, which is great. Yeah. And he's beautiful. I mean, I love the fact that his weapon is essentially a spade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's very, very cool.
And he's got that hook gutter thing there.
Yeah, not nice. Not nice. He's basically going to be able to create zombies, isn't he? That's his shtick.
Possibly. I think he... I don't know if it's creator, if he just walks up to graves and kicks them awake. It's... Because, I mean, the miniature looks like he's pulling a plank from a coffin up to just let some maggoty tentacle thing up. I mean, I can't tell if they're organic things sticking out of the zombie head or not.
I assume they're roots and plants and stuff.
Maybe.
In the video, it looks like a lot of those. I think that's going to be your basic mob unit, because they show in that video quite a few of them. Whereabouts around where is it? The 30-second mark, give or take. There's quite a few of them with a load of wood on the back. Bits coming out of the heads.
Yeah. And does this indicate maybe a new zombie set at some point?
I would think that is a fair assessment. That looks like what these would be, ghouly zombie-ish things.
It's got to be done. I was looking back at where they came from recently, and they are old.
Oh,
zombies,
yeah.
The current zombies are
2000, I want to say.
No, earlier than that.
No, earlier than that.
Really?
Earlier than that, yeah. They're from the first Vampire Counts book.
Oh, so 98.
I didn't.
97.
Yeah. They were about the same time as the Khorne Berserkers. So a long time ago.
Do you know what really excites me about this new Warhammer Quest?
Oh.
There's a bit in the video where you see 4 people. So you get a Caradron. Well, I think it's a Caradron anyhow. It looks like a Caradron. You get the Lich Hunter, obviously. You get what looks to be some kind of Kernothy type
Smelly
guy.
elf.
Yeah. And then is that an old-fashioned ogre?
I would guess so.
So like the old style of ogre, yeah?
Yeah, not an ogre, but an ogre.
No, a proper old-fashioned, like old world ogre.
Looks like it. Bloody hell, looks like it. I swear to God, I have not been this excited about. There's been stuff that's come out that's excited me. This is me in a board game, right?
Well,
dungeon crawling and everything.
I know people who will go nuts for this. Who've never played like a Warhammer game or whatnot. I'm gonna buy it and paint it up and take it to their houses, to play this, because I think they'll go nuts. I think they'll love it.
Oh, I intend at some point to nail Andy into a chair and just go, right, we're playing this. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking specifically of mutual friends Ray Curran and whatnot. He'd love this. He'd love it to bits. So yeah.
Just we're all going around to Nick Hardy's house.
Yeah. Oh, I know Nick would love it. It's just got him all over.
It's just like, leave me alone. I don't want to play anything. Just on his window, banging boxes against it. Come and
Ironically,
play.
like zombies, you know.
Come and play. The quest is calling. I mean, oh my god, we've got so little, and yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, the website. There's so much stuff in the website which has really caught my interest. The Van Elton Skydocks, where they've got like a carriage run in and out that's been ruined. We've got Geistgale. No one dares to venture near this gate except the spectral dead. The Clot. This canal is now clogged by dried gore and is home to many carrion horrors. We've got the shadowed crypt halls. Haunting music and screams echo from within these vaults. What else we got?
It's so cool.
I have
love
spent
it all.
so much time on this website, it's ridiculous. The Corpse Gardens, Gorslav the Gatekeeper oversees these frightful charnel pits and graveyards. Hangman's Copse, this bat-infested site of a former Sylvaneth embassy. And then you got like four blocked out areas which they don't tell you anything about yet.
I mean, talking of the Sylvaneth, surely they're due a resurrection soon.
I think that there is something coming for the Sylvaneth.
A new battle tome they need, like they desperate. There aren't any endless spells for the Sylvaneth either.
There
either.
isn't.
No.
And the last battle tome was a while ago, and it.
A long time ago. The last Sylvaneth battle tome was ages ago.
And they've had one hero, I want to say. Is it in that time?
The most recent thing in the box set, yeah.
Yeah.
So I imagine when it'll be Broken Realms Alariel.
Yeah,
won't it?
yeah.
That's what it'll be. When we get Broken Realms Alariel, there'll be an update for the Sylvaneth.
That would make sense. Alariel, and then finish off with Broken Realms Malekith.
Yes, which of course will be the release of the. You mean Malarion?
Malarion, sorry.
You're slipping into like old Hammer there.
I'm. What can I say? Warhammer Quest does this to me. It just makes me think back to all those many weeks of just playing through Warhammer Quest campaigns and taking little what's he called? Grungy Firebeard all the way through all of his things.
God Almighty!
Oh my God! Like trying to set up traps to try and kill the elf.
I mean, it's very interesting that they've gone with another elf release for this Broken Realms as well. So, I mean, what do we think? Are they going to do the elven forces first?
I think that every Broken Realms will be elven, and then that lead into 3.0 with the elves as leading the charge for Order, or sort of leading the charge.
Interesting. So, of course, I mean, eventually we know the Umbraneth are coming, for one thing, because, of course, they've named them, they've named them and they've sort of suggested, they've drip-fed what they're going to be like, So they're on their way.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. The elves, I think, they're going to be front and centre. It's going to be, 3.0 is going to be elves front and centre with all the other armies kind of taking a bit of a back seat, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I'm quite happy with the idea of the Stormcast taking a bit of a back seat. Because it sounds weird, but have you noticed that they kind of have?
Yeah, they have. They've really been recessed recently, haven't they?
Yeah, considering how they were being pushed forward as being the Space Marines of AOS for the first, 3-4 years of AOS? Three years anyhow. But now they've kind of taken a bit of a back seat, and these other races and other things are now taking the front seat, and I think that's really interesting.
Which is perfectly fine. I've got no problem with that, to be honest.
I like Stormcast more than like the Space Marines, so
I like the Stormcast fine, but it is nice to see some of the other forces getting a bit of a look in.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, then they really are. They're getting so much of a look in. The elves as a race now are just getting so much stuff.
Well, they're far more interesting than they ever were.
Yeah.
They're fascinating now. I love this. I love all of them. I've got to say, the Sylvaneth, the Lumineth, the Umbraneth, the Daughters of Cain. I think they're great. I think they're really interesting. The Ideneth.
Yeah, I was going to say,
entirely new race of elves.
Do you not find it really upsetting though? It's Ideneth, Umbraneth, Lumineth, Daughters. Hang on.
Daughters. Yeah, they need the Daughters of Cain. Could do with a unifying name.
An eth name, Caineth.
Yeah. It can't be Morathyneth because that doesn't work.
Morineth?
Morineth? you could sort of get away with.
Snaketh.
Morathites.
Morathites is good. Morathites works.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, I mean, they call themselves the Canaanites, don't they? So
They call themselves the Canaanites. I mean, that's another thing that this book is going to have to explore, actually. How is Morathai spinning it to her own followers? Because now she is the goddess.
yeah.
Now there is no Cain at all.
No.
There's her.
Yeah, the heart of Cain's gone now, isn't it?
Right, it's her
Yeah,
now. You know, she is the new god of blood and murder in this particular pantheon. So, and most of her followers have been following her under the delusion that it's to resurrect Cain. I mean, the only way I can see her doing it is like, oh, Cain has been reborn in me.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I think that may be how they go with it. You know,
I kind of wish, you know, they do these little videos that they announce things coming out, and there's little teaser ones. I still think that the best teaser they've ever done has been the Bad Moon Spoke to Me Once.
that was great fun.
That to this day,
it's
I think
great
is
fun.
the best one they ever did. It would be cool just to get these little moments done as videos. You know, Morathai just rising up and doing the entire Cain is dead. I am now the embodiment of all the Cainite power or whatever. You know, I think that it'd be quite cool for Games Workshop just to start doing little videos. Don't have to be very long, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, just registering these moments. You know, because you just get so much out of it.
Just to see, like, what I mean, that's what fascinates me about this whole situation. To be honest, it's the politics of it, of the Broken Realms. It's fascinating to me. I want to know what they're up to, what all the different where they're positioned, basically, and what they're thinking about one another.
I want a T-shirt with the Cursed City stuff on it. Sorry, I'm just looking at it going,
no, it is
I
great.
fucking love this artwork. It's so good.
You know, this is probably it's one of the this. It looks like this has the potential to be the next Blackstone Fortress, doesn't it? You know, that game that comes along and just sweeps everything off the board. You know.
Yeah, and if they're going to do like a Blackstone Fortress style, multiple expansions and things for it, then I am all in. I am all in because I like Blackstone Fortress. I like what it did. I like the characters it presented, but because it wasn't AOS, I found it very hard to. Get super excited about it, and then I fell off it and didn't get everything. In fact, I got nothing. I got just Blackstone Fortress by itself. But this looks like it could. I mean, this to me feels like they saw what Hasbro did with Hero Quest and just went right. Let me show you how it's really done.
And cheaper as well. It won't be like 200 to 300 or however
Yeah.
much that was.
No.
Right.
It's good to see that as well, that we know for a fact we're going to get at least 8 heroes and 5 villain lords.
Yeah. Now, I think I'm drawing. I have no evidence for this.
Right.
But I think that we're going to see henchmen as well.
Yeah.
So you see in the artwork, you've got a guy with a halberd, and then you've got a little guy with a candle. Right. They don't fit with anything else that looks like it's going to be here, even though there isn't a huge amount here. So either they're heroes, or my guess would be they're henchmen.
Right.
I assumed they were just heroes.
There's something about the way that the guy with the halberd stands, and it just makes me think that he's a henchman.
I don't see why, because that's not going to be his pose for the mini, because Gorath's there.
True. Yeah.
Gorath's been obviously stylized.
Yeah. You know what I'd like to see, though? More of this artwork. Or should I say, this style of artwork. I want to see this style of artwork make its way into into AOS proper.
Yeah.
Rather than the super airbrushed digital art that a lot of the artwork is at the moment.
So something a bit more stylized is what you're looking for.
A bit more stylized, a bit more obviously hand drawn, and a bit more creepy. Maybe the word I'm looking for.
Because you do get like bits and pieces of it in certain battle tomes.
You do,
don't
yeah.
you? If you look in the Disciples of Zeech, there's that 2-page spread of the pink horrors that's clearly hand drawn. It's clearly hand painted. Oh, it's really good. It's really good. There's the same in the Everchosen. There's a couple of pages in the Everchosen that are clearly by the same artist that are kind of symbolic. There's almost like a chiaroscuro thing going on where it's all light and shadow.
Yeah.
So something a bit more like that, yeah?
Yeah, no, that's very much what I'm thinking. I mean, the artwork that's in all the Games Workshop products is glorious. Don't get me wrong, it is gorgeous, gorgeous work of people at the top of the game. But when things have a tendency of looking a little too unified for my liking.
I know what you mean. I mean, if you go back and look, like when we all first got into the hobby, there wasn't like a unified house style back then.
No, there wasn't.
So you had like the likes of Adrian Wood, and their art was very distinct and very energized and very particular. Then you had other artists as well whose art was slightly different.
Well, I mean, you look at, like, let's take Warhammer Armies Undead, because that's the last third ed, fourth ed, whichever Warhammer Armies book I read. So you've got Mark Gibbons with his super highly rendered, huge weight black and whites. Then you've got Wayne England, which is a lot more stylized, a lot more kinetic, a lot more frenzied.
Yeah.
And then you've got some other guys in there whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. You've got John Blanche with his super scratchy style.
Yeah, whose art I love, by the
absolutely.
way. I love Blanche. Love Blanche's stuff.
It always annoys me that I didn't get his tarot card deck.
Yeah.
I've got the Ian Miller one, but I don't have the John Blanche one. Which at some point I need to get. Just give me a lot of John Blanche art books, please. Please, Games Workshop. Why are you not just putting out John Blanche art books? Because Rat Spike goes for like 200 quid now, and it's impossible to buy.
Right, yeah.
And I know that people have got it, and I hate you.
Yeah, more Blanche, please.
Just more styles, more.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that got me into Warhammer way back when was seeing the different styles of art, the different feels that you could get.
Yeah.
Because it gives you differing ideas, differing feelings.
I know what you mean. Yeah, there is. I mean, don't get me wrong. The artwork that's around now is freaking incredible. For the most part. It really is amazing pieces of work. But it's very unified. It's they're clearly going, particularly I would say, in the codices in 40k. It's very codified. It's very codified. There's no real distinction.
I think the best way for me to put it is all the art looks like a snapshot of the world. It doesn't feel like a rendering of the world.
Right, got you.
Yeah, so it feels like here is how it actually is. Whilst one of the things I really like about art in older books and in books done by different companies is that you can get a different idea from what something could be.
Right, I mean, for God's sake, if you go back to the Realms of Chaos, there are actual pencil drawings and charcoal drawings that have just been, like, photocopied and stuck in the book.
Absolutely. And because of that, you get different feels. I mean, you look back at, like, early Warhammer, and there's, like, John Blanche did a painting of a flying, sailing boat. Which never appeared in any of Warhammer Fantasy Battle.
Right, yeah. That's another thing. The stuff that isn't in the miniatures range. I mean, the very early Warhammer stuff, like the Realms of Chaos, is just full of that crap.
Absolutely.
It's full of it.
Yeah, and it gets the brain ticking over, like, what could this be? How could this be? And
yep.
Then you end up building it and putting it onto the battlefield as something else.
Right, yeah.
It runs as a dragon. And that's the type of thing that always... I don't want to say it's a failing, because it's not a failing, because I realise how much this is a personal thing.
Yeah, it is about, like, what you want and what you like, isn't it? Ultimately.
Yeah, and seeing the artwork that's coming for Cursed City, it screams that to me. That feeling, that everything is a little bit more stylized, and you can kind of squint your eyes and try to work it out, and it becomes something else. I love it. I absolutely adore it. And also Teclis has cucumbers on his belt.
And that too. I mean, did anyone feel that this particular reveal show was kind of very slanted towards fantasy? Fantasy, like Age of Sigmar, had all of the tricks here, didn't it?
Yes, and it's about bloody time.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I mean, it's been 40k for the longest, like most of last year. So.
Yep. So it's been nice. It's a nice sort of refresher, isn't it?
It is.
They need to keep changing it up like each year, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, we're on a yearly cycle. 40k will get pushed a bit more 1 year, AOS the next year. It'll be interesting to see what the rest of this year brings, because
Well, it's all fascinating. I mean, there's been such good stuff already. I'm just on tenterhooks waiting for my Death Guard Codex. Cannot wait for that. I mean, next month looks to be as strong, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, 2 big releases. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's actually quite nice. This month, I'm buying nothing. It's like,
No Death Guard Codex for you, Adam.
No, I really had to make that choice of I'm going to have to drop the 40k stuff unless I'm actually going to play the army. Because I cannot afford to keep getting the codexes and whatnot. I will read them when people have them, and I will say, can I borrow that, please? So I can read it and get an idea of things, or I'll like get through them in the shop when the shops reopen, and stuff like that. And I'll talk to people about stuff and things, but I cannot afford to keep buying them. I mean, they're 20 quid a time.
Yeah, they're expensive. They're expensive, aren't they?
And with the way that like 3.0 AOS is coming out as well, it's like I'm going to hold off on buying any more codexes for a little bit, just see what happens. Battletoads,
and given that there's like, it does feel like there are strong releases almost every month.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you remember like ages ago when we first started and we were talking a little bit about how we got back into Warhammer, and once the initial buys and everything were done, and you got your stuff, you got your book, and you're just there and you're going, but I'm actually getting quite a lot out of these with the building, the painting, and then the playing. And then I was like going, holy crap, the last year has just been, here, buy stuff. And I'm like, okay. It's like, I need to slow down. I need to desperately slow down with getting stuff. I mean, I have everything that Warcry has thrown out sitting next to me here, and the stuff that isn't painted, and I need to get onto it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm happy that the Lumineth outside of the Battle Tome, which I will get, the tech list book, which I will get, I don't need to buy. I don't.
Yeah.
I like them, but I don't want them. So that's good.
I know. Likewise, I like them from afar.
Yeah, and that's good.
I think they're great. Don't get me wrong. I think they're great. I think they are absolutely beautiful, but they're just not for me,
Now, it's when they do the next preview and it's nothing but Skaven, that's when I'm going to just start
Yes,
screaming.
when the Skaven come back for you, it's going to be it, isn't it?
Oh,
and
yeah.
if as and when they do come back, I have no doubt they're going to completely redo them.
Yeah, that's kind of, it's a weird one. I've held off on the Skaven for a bit, purely because for me, they don't quite fit in AOS yet.
Not yet.
No.
They haven't had their whole redesign yet. They haven't been AOS.
No,
they haven't been AOS
yet. And I think that's the thing I'm going to kind of wait for. Once the Skaven get a bit of a redo, then I am going to just go mad.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to go mad. I know full well I'm just going to go insane, and I'm going to be screaming at the heavens, why must I eat bricks this week? So, anything anybody else wants to say about the previews, or anything else for that matter?
I don't think so.
I'm just, it's still a bit of a highlight for me. I'm still really enjoying the way they're doing it.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the previews. I kind of hope that these continue after everything kind of reopens.
Me too. I hope they carry on with this stuff because I like it. Sadly I didn't get the chance yesterday to sit down and actually watch it because I was busy. But I caught up on it after, after work, and it's nice. I really, really do look forward to it.
Yeah, I find them really enjoyable. They become a really fun part of the day.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I put put Jojo down for his nap, and it's like,
oh, hello.
He said something good about Jojo, and
then he
away.
dropped. Oh no!
Has he gone, or
Is
he just on mute?
I'm not sure.
It looks like he's still in the call.
Yeah, he's still on the call.
Yeah.
Can't hear a thing, man.
Maybe he got so excited he muted himself.
Oh no! It was going so well.
It was. Oh well. It was so close.
It's snowing here again.
Is it? We've had no snow. We've just had incredible frost.
It's about 6 inches thick at the minute out there.
Oh wow,
it's been snowing
that's decent.
All day.
Apparently Gruff can hear us, but his mic disconnected.
Oh no!
Oh yes. I hope that doesn't wreck his recording. I don't know what. Luckily, I'm doing a big Skype record.
Me too.
So...
I'm doing one here as well. So if it does, at least we've got the recordings.
Yeah, there's something there at least.
Yes, definitely.
What are the odds, man?
God, at least it was at the end,
Do you guys want to finish
sure.
up? Yeah.
So, I loved that preview. I thought it was really interesting. I'm fascinated to see where it goes, Andy. I really am fascinated.
Yeah. When do we know when a next one? Will there be a one next weekend? Is that how it goes?
I don't think so. They haven't mentioned a new one yet. They haven't, mooted a new one yet. But I've no doubt it'll be soon. I've noticed because there's just so much. There's just so much that they've already hinted at. They're going to have to do quite a few of these, I imagine.
Here's a question: when do you think the Diachasm Warband's going to come out? Because that looks like it's done.
It does, doesn't it? It looks like it's done. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I can't imagine that it's going to be that far off.
No, I'd hope not.
Maybe that will be the March release.
Oh yeah, maybe that'd be
because
alright.
There seems to be a gap there. There seems to be a gap in the March release. We know what's going on in February. It's the Hedonites and the Blood Brides, the Daughters of Cain. So yeah. But apart from that, I think that's it. I think we can run it down now. So Andy, thanks so much, man. By the way, guys, Adam's sort of dropped out of the call, so we're gonna sort of wrap this one up between us. Yeah.
Yes. No. Thanks for bringing me by again.
It's always a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for joining us once again. I'm sure Adam would echo the sentiment if he could talk. So, guys, we will speak to you all very, very, very soon, I'm sure. Until then, bye-bye. Oh, man. At least it happened at the end,
Joe's got the Union Carbide blues. Big indigenous since 62. West Paducah City on the go. Tiny fingers growing out of those elbows. Down in building C499. Sons of bitches thought they never get caught. Guzzling old amount of whiskey at work. Beating the drums down into the dirt. Putting something in the water. Something weird in the water. Killing your sisters and your brothers. Something in the cold real waters. While you're sneaking gold out of hydrogen bombs. Blatant pistol grips and carrying on. Your boss is doing the exact same thing. Sucking atoms out of your sewage drain. And that dense fog of uranium dust. Can't hide the leaky buckets of rust. The ugly truth will put you in the ground. So rise up and burn the pump house down. Something in the water. Something in your daughter. Killing your sisters and your brothers. Something in the cold real water. Joe's a hero of the Cold War, man. Not with a broken witch and wand in his hand. We gotta keep this red county dry as a bone. Well, you know some stories of his left untold. Well, Michael Connor wanted to kill that wheel. Molly counted on Colonel Millersville. Smuggled his muzzle into Heath High School. Shot his friends holding hands on the flagpole. Must be something in the water. Something weird in your mothers. Killing your sisters and your brothers. Something in the cold real water. Something in the water. Something weird in your daughter. I blame your greedy grandfathers for putting something in the cold